Thank you for joining us, guys. Right now, we have uh, some of the award winners. Not everybody is still with us. Some of you may or may not know that Neum Animated Film Festival is the oldest and probably the most famous one in Bosnia and Herzegovina. This is the 16th year we are doing this, and since the last 16 years, NAF really made a name for itself. And I think it shows because this year we had more than 3,000 entries that were fighting for these awards that you won. NAF is organized in Neum, the only coastal city of Bosnia and Herzegovina. I see some of you have already Googled it. It has like maybe 3 to 5,000 inhabitants, and right now we are in one of our sponsor hotels, Hotel Marea. And 14 of the 16 years, the festival was live with live projections, with a lot of children and adults watching the films. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we were forced to do it online, but still, I must say the films have remained very, very good. So from the people that we have right now, I think it would be fair of me to present the winner of this year's Neum Animated Film Grand Prix, and that is Foreign Exchange by Corey Francis Parks from Baltimore, USA. Corey, congratulations. And maybe you can say us a few words about you, about the movie before we start the discussion.
Sure. So I'm an animator that works primarily with sand, but traditional sand animation tends to work with sand as a big pile of sand. And what I'm interested is looking at each individual grain and getting very close to the sand. And so that also led me to look closely at other things in the world, like currency and the pictures on currency. And so this film, Foreign Exchange, it brings together currency that's been collected from people who have traveled. None of it was like purchased or anything. It's all money that people have had left over from either moving from a different country or traveling to a different country. And what I was looking for was like how the different stories can connect. And everybody can make their own connections over I think in coming from different countries. So whatever you see in the film will be something different than what other people see in the film.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've been showing a couple of screens from the film, but we will come back to the technique and to other interesting stuff about it. But let's make a full circle and present our 2D winner. This is just the second entry from Bosnia and Herzegovina that won an award on Neum Animated Film Festival, and the film I'm talking about is Natural Selection by Aleta Rajic. Aleta, congratulations.
Thank you. So I did a film on paper. I've never studied animation, so it's really flattering to be awarded in this specific category. And yeah, that's it.
And there we go. And we were waiting for mute type. We were waiting for Lida from Iran. She won. Lida Fazli won Best 3D, even though her film was a mix of 2D and 3D with a strong anti-war message. But unfortunately, she's still not here. So we will be waiting if she joins us. And there's also one author that won and told us he'll be here with us, but he's a bit late, and that is Robin Heap from the UK. He won Best Clay Animations for his film The Flower and the Girl. I also had a couple of questions for him.
Hi everybody, this is Robin Heap. I directed Flower and the Girl, and I've been very lucky enough to be given an award by you guys for this project. I am so grateful to you for recognising the project and giving this award, which is just fantastic and a real surprise. I'd like to just thank everybody who was involved in the project. There were so many different people, and including my own students over the years, and they did such a fantastic job. I'm really proud of them and the whole team. So thank you so much, and I look forward to actually visiting the festival in person as soon as that's possible next year round. So thank you again, and I'll see you soon.
The author that won Best Music and Sound is here with us, and that is Marcos Almada from Mexico for the film The March of the Missing. Marcos, congratulations. How do you feel?
I'm very pleased. I'm very happy, especially because the two guys who I work with, the ones that made audio and music, are one of my best friends, and they're super talented, and I'm very happy for them. And it was a joy working with them as well.
I must present the jury. They had really a difficult time this year. They have difficult time every year because out of 3,000 movies, selecting the best ones ain't that easy. So there we had Miroslav Mandić, a screenwriter from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Miro Gavran, a writer from Croatia, Mindy Johnson, an American animator, and Ana Nedeljković, a professor of animation from Serbia. So they took their time, and it was pretty long. We were waiting until a couple of days ago. They all finished with grading your films. And best start from Krasno Lutki, a film from Belarus, Roman Burmatov, but Roman wasn't answering any emails, so we have to go without him. He never answered any one of them, but his film was really artistically challenging and pretty interesting. So if you guys all got the login and password, you should probably see it. And now we are moving to our student selection. And the jury members for the student movie selections were Sabrina Begović, a Bosnian and Herzegovinian director, Lucia Buzančić, a Croatian animator, and he's a French animator. So I have to thank them once again for everything they did for this festival. Best student film for this year is August Turnos' Cucaracha, Roach. So Agu,
Hey,
how do you feel as a student winner this year?
hey, so happy, very, very happy. Thanks. My English is very bad. But, sorry for that.
No problem at all.
Yes, it's amazing. Super content, re content. Happy.
Move to our next laureate. So we have this award called Dusan Vukotic. Dusan Vukotic was a Croatian/Yugoslavian Oscar winner for the best animated film in the 60s. And the Neum Animated Film Festival gives this award to aspiring young artists from the region. So Masha is Serbian, and she works under French production, if I understood correctly. So Masha, congratulations, and I hope this award will be like wind to your sails in your future career.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to receive this prize, and also with the name of Dusan Vukotic on it. I'm very happy to have it, and it's also my first award in animation, so I'm very pleased that it comes from you guys. Thank you.
I sure hope it is the first, but definitely not the last, because what I've seen from the movie, there's really big potential. And can you please tell me, you are also a student of animation, right?
I finished the school last year. It's a school that's called La Poudrière, and it's a school of direction of animated films in France, in Valence. And it's like a master degree for direction of animated films.
Great. So we still haven't received any info on the other authors that are not with us right now. So I would like to return a bit to our Grand Prix winner, to Corey. So you started with an interesting quote from a book I hold very dear. And then stuff started happening. So tell me a bit more about the technique. You already told us. So grains of sand and currencies from different countries. So I'm interested in the way you're making it. How much technology are you using in making your movies?
Quite a lot. The sand in the film is all shot under the camera with stop motion, and then it's composited into a digital environment in After Effects. And so the currency, the layers of currency they're scanned from real banknotes, and then for the most part, they're digitally manipulated. Some of it is stop motion, but most of it, instead of cutting up every single banknote, I actually just did that digital. So it's a mix of both techniques.
How did you get all these currencies? From traveling abroad, friends bringing it to you, or something else?
Yeah, mostly people sending it. I put out a message on Instagram and Facebook and said, if you have any banknotes that are from another country that you've kept for some reason, can I borrow them? And so people from all over the world sent me all of these banknotes, and they were so beautiful. I think there were over 50 people contributing to the film.
I'm loving this kind of art that is reusing stuff that is like valuable, but not valuable when it leaves the country, and valuable again when it's part of an art piece.
Yeah.
Thank you, Corey. And I have a question for Aleta, for our 2D winner. So your film is pretty long for a short film. It's almost 12 minutes, right? How long did it take to make it? It looks pretty complicated to make it, edited. I've seen some camera angles that are not often seen in animated features.
Thank you. So I took a long time to make it, since I've never studied animation. My father taught me how to animate, and now when I look back at it, it just looks so choppy and just not as neat. But it was like a learning process throughout the film, and sorry, and so the whole process was really long. It took me a couple of years to finish the film, and it is quite long for an amateur, I would say. And I've done it on paper, so the whole film was done on paper, and as well as the backgrounds, and but I think I put in most of my thought in the theme as well, more so than the technical segments. So I sort of I never was really a fan of statement films, so I'm not really comfortable with doing them either. And I sort of layered all kinds of themes and sort of played around with this topic of human duality in general. And so it went from that on, and I started thinking about different contrasts, which were not exclusive, but rather integral in a way, as a part of a whole. So like, I don't know, psyche and body, or freedom and oppression, or animalistic traits within human nature. And so I sort of played with that, and these themes opened up and introduced this whole wide spectrum of gray area, which was really interesting and fun to work on and think about. And the whole story became sort of a transformation story, and the characters became anthropomorphic, and the setting became dystopian almost by default. So
Great, and you're sharing that trait of anthropomorphic animals with Marcos's film. So Marcos also has anthropomorphic characters in an interesting socially rebellious story. But we were talking before this conversation. Marcos told me he was from a beautiful small town in Mexico. So I heard a lot of animal noises in the film. Are they authentic? How did you make it? How did you record them or digitally enhance them? What did you do with them?
Well, the story doesn't have dialogue. As you say, they're all anthropomorphic animals. I think we made the grunts and the small sounds, the little sounds they make. I think it was me. I recorded them myself. I went like and made sort of, and then Leo, the sound designer, played with them and mixed it with real animals. And it was just playing, having fun. It was like being a kid again and doing noises, and it's amazing how sound, when it's well designed, you can create a whole world that it's believable. No, it was myself making noises in my cell phone, and then it became another reality. No, and that's the magic of sound.
And what about the music? You had this really chill Latin music for the intro, and then you had some really tense sounds during the film, and chill music in the end again.
Yes, the music was made by Chris Van Buren. He's also Mexican, and he's a jazz player. He's not really a score musician, but I've worked with him in several occasions, and he did a great job, like creating this atmospheric music. And the film, it's about a social issue in Mexico about the violence and disappearance, but I wanted to make a metaphor of violence in a sort of a fable, using animals to neutralize the context, so any culture can relate to it. And I think the only reference to Latin culture or Mexican culture was that first song, no? That gives you this kind of feeling that you are in a Latin country. But apart from that, everything is very neutral, or doesn't have any social references or cultural references. But I thought it was important to just give that small hint that we were talking about Mexico or Latin America. And they did this song. Maybe you don't understand it because it's in Spanish, and it's a very joyful song. Makes you want to dance, but the lyrics are talking about the missing people and how you miss them. So it's kind of like bittersweet because it's playful, but it's really sad. And it's what we did was, the first time you hear it on the intro, the dialogues are inverted, so you cannot understand what they're saying. We try to invent a new language, and then on the end credits you hear the correct version, no? Where you can understand. So once you've seen the whole short film, you have a new meaning. You add a new meaning to the song. No? Now you understand what the characters are feeling. That was our idea.
And I believe, as just a viewer, that you have done it very well. Congrats once again.
Yeah.
And let's move to Agustin. So you did it in college, right? So did you have help from your professors, from your fellow students, or were you doing it all on your own?
Or you're solo, or your own. Sorry, I speak very bad English. We make Cucaracha in 5 years approximately, with 2 partners. but my carrera, my school is for cine, cinematographic, no animation. Animation is 1 year in the university.
Why did you choose animation?
I love the animation. Me dedico a la animación. I am animator. Is my job. Out of school, out of the university, is my profession.
Oh, great. So now you are also a cinematographer and an animator all together.
Okay. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
And Masha, I have seen your film. Interesting technique. You were using only pencil, I believe, to animate it.
No, actually, it's the backgrounds were done in traditionally, but the animation was done in Toon Boom, and so it's like a mixture of digital animation and traditional backgrounds. And I tried to make it as natural as possible, as close to the traditional technique as possible. But actually, it's a computer.
Yeah, great. You have fooled me. And I see what I saw in your film were references to, for example, the other guys probably didn't see that film, but it's called Koto Tamo Peva by Slobodan Šijan. You have this bus with different characters inside. And what I see, and that is an experience for people from the Balkans, probably more than the rest of them, is crossing the borders between the Balkan countries and the European Union. Am I close?
I started doing the film before, how to say, I haven't had the reference in my head when I started doing the film, and then I, like, during the process of writing, I was like, okay, this really resembles who sings over there. But it was actually it became I came to the idea because I was traveling a lot from Serbia to France by bus, and when I travel also to other countries, I travel a lot by bus. So I always saw this mixture of very different characters and situations that I found like very comical and a bit tragic in the same time. So I wanted to make a film about it.
Yeah, and I must say the music was also very carefully selected. It's something you hear in buses that travel through the Balkans.
Yes.
So we are at the 30 minutes mark. We can make a small break, or we can continue for 10 more minutes and then finish up. What do you think, guys? Do we need a break, or?
We can continue. I'm okay.
No, yeah, great. So Corey, I was thinking a lot after I watched your film. I've seen the sand and the money, and really you can interpret it in so many ways. And I believe that's one of the reasons you have won the Grand Prix. So is there a deeper message about money being almost useless or useful, like a grain of sand or something like that? Is there an anti-capitalistic message in your film?
I wouldn't say there's a specific message. There are a lot of big ideas in the film that you can, like, you're picking up on, but I think my intention is that the message people pull from the film come from their perspective. And so if you see an anti-capitalistic message in the film, then why do you see that when someone else might see a different message in the film? I think when you bring all of those images together that are created as national stories, right? Like like banknotes are propaganda. They're the story that a nation decides to tell about itself. And so when you put them all in contact with each other, then there will naturally be some connections that that occur, even if, you know, I'm not specifically trying to make those connections for the viewer.
And can you tell me, was it difficult to? Did you make the movie during the pandemic, or was it already finished by the time the pandemic started? And tell me something more about making a movie like that in the USA. How much help do you have from your producers, from the country, from the funds?
Yeah. So I finished the film at the end of 2019. So it was just before the pandemic. So the film was finished, and then the pandemic, you know, really affected the festivals, I think, and my ability to go to festivals, which is a reason that I love making films, is to go and like meet all of you people and be in beautiful new places that I've never been, which none of us can do right now. But as far as the funding and stuff in the United States, there really isn't the same systems as there are in Europe. Many short films are self-produced. So this film is self-produced. I didn't have like a whole team or a large budget, but I did get some grants from the university I work for. And then much of it was just my own, you know, time. And so in the United States, crowdfunding can be a really important way for short films to get funded. I did not need to do that for this film, but I've done that in the past for other short films. We don't have government support from like for short films really at all. It's much more private donations or private foundations that give artists grants here. And so it's quite hard, and many productions are made on a much lower budget than you might find in other parts of the world, I think.
Aletta, the same question goes to you. How did you close your funding for your film, and what's the situation with animation in Bosnia and Herzegovina?
So I was helped by government funding. We don't have private funds that help authors to do films, and so it was B&H production with Croatian co-production, and it was really helpful. It was really a nice push, and but this situation in B&H is not really the greatest, even though in the past 10 or 15 years you can see a slight progress, and there are a few authors that do work, and as far as I can see, it's really successful lineup. So.
Corey told us that she was really looking forward meeting people and traveling with her film. Did you have the same problem? You have won a bunch of awards by now. Have you been on any of the festivals, or has it all been online?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been to any festivals. I did go to one in Croatia, Anima Fest, and that's the only one I went to because all the festivals were online for the past year, and so that's unfortunate, but yeah.
Thank you. And Marcos, what about you? Who helped you fund the movie, to close the budget for it?
Yes, in our case, we got a government grant from INCINE. It's like the institution that works around cinema and cinematic projects. And it was a great help. I think we wouldn't have done it otherwise because it's a project that takes a year to to complete, and then you have to hire people, and I hate asking people to work for free. I don't like to do that. So I think this program it's a lifesaver for artists and animators, and and I'm afraid with the pandemic and all the economic crisis that's been going on, these programs might stop giving money or cut the money they give, and it would be a shame, because there's a lot of young talents that want to do stuff, and in Mexico, for instance, crowdfunding doesn't work very well. So I hope the government still has this politic of funding, because in the end, the government is betting on Mexican culture to be represented in other places, and maybe it's not money that comes back immediately to the country, but you're building up professional people, an industry, and that comes back after a while, no? And yeah, that was I mean, but when you're doing animation, the budget is never enough, because you always want to make it bigger, and you always want to put more things and more. So you end up working extra hours without being paid, but that's part of the
charm,
the way of the charm of being an animator. I think if you don't do it that way, it never gets done the way you want it. It never finishes the way you want it.
Did you miss a lot of festivals this and last year?
Yeah, it was really sad. Very bittersweet. I really wanted to go to Cuba, for instance. We got selected, but we couldn't go. Well, it's on the other side, we have internet, and we can connect in different places, and that has been also very interesting, that a lot of people from places around the world see your movie, and maybe in a traditional festival it's only like live, and it's only maybe 300 people that saw your movie, and now it's thousands of people that can see your movie, and that's a good part of all this situation, I think.
And a question for our students, because that's what we really want to know, and what the jury wanted to know. What are your plans for the future? Are you already working on new projects? Maybe Masha could go first, Augustine could go second.
Well, I already made like a first small children's movie after school for French television. It was based on a poem. It was 2.5 minutes long, and I finished it in February. So now I'm having a small break, and I think I'll slowly start to write some new scripts and also work on projects of other people. I'm very excited to also see how it is to work under someone, and how it is to work in a production. So I'm looking forward to both making my films and working on other people's films.
Thank you. And what about you, Augustine? Are you working on a new animation, or are you making a cinematographic live movie?
I work in new animation. Siempre. Everything animation. Sobre todo now in this situation, pandemic, animation is more es más fácil hacerlo, mejor. In Argentina now is in hard crisis and pandemic, so make a movie, cinematography movie is very hard now in Argentina. So animation is good.
Thank you so much. Well, guys, I believe we are slowly coming to an end. Unfortunately, a couple of the authors haven't joined us and haven't given us their little speeches and answered the questions I prepared, but you have all done very good. I'm very happy we have met face to face, even though this isn't the perfect iteration. What would be perfect is that you all traveled to Nome this June and you all had the opportunity to meet our festival director and maybe talk to the jury after the jury brought the awards and see the fireworks we have each year when we open up the festival and the big screen and all happy children that would be really happy to see your movies. But what I hope for is that you will all finish with your new projects till next year, and that NAF 2022 will be alive after 2 online years. 2 online years were enough. I think third one would be too much. So hopefully we'll all see each other very soon, and good luck to all of you with your future projects. And thank you so much for being parts of this Zoom conference. So have a nice rest of the day, and we'll definitely keep in touch. You'll all get your laureate lists via email tomorrow evening, so you can put it on your social media and web pages and whatnot. Thank you once again. Goodbye.
Nice to meet everyone. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Gracias.
Nice to meet you.
Gracias. Ciao.
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 Ciao.